So yesterday we understood the reason behind why a business analyst needs to know about SQL and databases, and we try to understand some of the basic SQL commands that deals with the CRUD operation, that is essentially the creation, retrieving, updation and deletion of the information out of a database system. Now today we are going to continue on some of the advanced commands in SQL. So today we are going to understand what are alias and select command variation in SQL, what is grouping in SQL, what are wildcards in SQL, what are SQL operators, joins in SQL, data dictionary I have already shown you in yesterday's session, and we will do some hands-on. So to start with, what are alias and select command in SQL? So whenever we want to retrieve some information in a particular table, we use we use select commands. So for example, if we write select column name as something from table name, the statement or the information that you see after as is termed as alias in SQL. Now, why do we use alias, which is a temporary name in SQL, just to make information more readable? Let's say you are having a huge column name in a particular table, or your table name is too long. So we cannot go about using that long column name or table name throughout our queries. So what we do, usually we tend to create an alias of that particular column or table and we use it. So essentially this helps us in retrieving the information, and most often it is used with select command. Then comes the select command variation. So the first variation that you would see in select command is the distinct clause. Now what happens in distinct clause? It is used to return only different values within a particular table. It would return only the distinct or unique values within a particular table. For example, there are different uh, records in a particular table with same name. So let's say one person purchased multiple order. Now that order would be having that multiple names associated to it, the orders line item. So if we want to see a distinct information out of it, wherein the information is not repeated, we would be using distinct command along with SQL select commands. Then we have top command, wherein we select the top number of records. So it could be top 1000 records, top 500 records, or top 100 records. Then comes grouping in SQL. So that was the variation of your select command and how we use some of the clauses in SQL command, and we understood what are alias in SQL. Now next part is grouping in SQL. So what we do in grouping, we tend to use some of the aggregate function like count, max, minimum, sum, average to group the result for a particular scenario. So there would be certain scenarios like group me a particular, find me an order wherein the maximum order value should be this much, or find me an order wherein the minimum order value must be this much, or give me a total sum of the orders that has been placed. So in these scenarios we would be using group by clause. We would be using these functions along with the group by clause. Now what are these function exactly? So if you see an example over here, we have two tables over here. We have a table employee and we have a table department. So what the syntax we are using here is select department ID, this thing, sum of salaries, we are adding up all the salaries as total salaries from employees table grouped by department IDs. So the final outcome that we see over here is this thing. So this is the query on which we are firing, this is the table on which we are firing the queries, and our outcome is this particular snapshot. Now we'll do some thing on SQL. So I have already created two tables over here. Now I have a customer table. In my customer table, I have a customer ID which is unique. I have first name, I have last name, I have email address, I have address, I have city, I have state, and I have zip code. And then I have one more table, order table. Now order table is referencing to the customer ID. So if I select these two and fire together, you see the customer ID is linked from customer table in the order table. So order ID is unique, but customer ID is a foreign key of the order table, and this foreign key is a primary key of the customer table. So customer ID is the connecting factor or the relationship between these two tables. Now let us apply some functions on this. For example, now I would consider only the order table. So this is my order table. Now my first scenario is I want to sum up all the amount or all the order ID amount and show as total amount. So what I would do, I would write the query as select sum of amount as total amount from orders. Now I am giving a temporary name for that particular column as total amount, wherein it would sum up all the order amount for me. So when I fire this query, I would see the result as 968. So essentially what it did, it summed up all the amounts that were present in my order table. 143 plus 183 plus all this thing, which gave me the sum as 968. Now, there could be a scenario in a particular order table wherein what I want to do is I want to count the amount from the orders table where the value of the amount is less than 200. So ideally, I am naming that particular column as orders, or let me name it as value count order value. Let me name it as this way. So this would be the name of the temporary column that I am creating, and in that temporary column it would give me a count of the number of orders which are less than 200. So if you refer this particular example, almost all the orders are less than 200, so the count would be 1 2 3 4 5 6. So let us see whether it is giving us the count as 6 or not. It is giving me some issues over here. Let me put it. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake over here. It should be count amount. Now my temporary column name is count amount, and it should give me the count as 6. My table name is orders. So any mistake, it would throw me an error. So this is the number that I was looking for. Okay, so I misplaced this alias from here to here. That's the reason why you are getting the name of the column as no column name. Now we got the count as 6. Now let us create a scenario wherein in the order table I want to find something like wherein the amount is less than 150. Now how many columns have the amount less than 150? Ideally it's 2. So it should give me the count as 2. The amount is greater than 150. So there are 4 columns wherein the amount is greater than 150. So it would give me count greater than 150. So that was 2 examples of sum and count function in SQL. Now what about the minimum and maximum function? So let's say I have the order table. Now I want to find out the information around what is the minimum order value out of these things. So minimum order value according to me, as I could see, is 123. So is it giving me that order value? Yes, 123. Now what about the maximum order value? It is giving me 193. So depending on the situation, depending on your requirement, you can fire these SQL functions as per your needs. So this were some of the functions that you use in SQL: sum function, count function, minimum function, maximum function, and so on. Now then there is something called as wildcard in SQL. Now what are wildcard in SQL? Wildcard in SQL are essentially used by percentage symbol or underscore symbol. So remember, when you are shopping on a particular online website, you are entering some characters and you get certain suggestion. For example, you are entering a cell phone like Samsung. You write Sam, all the Samsung cell phones get populated as search result. So how that happens? With the help of wildcard characters. Now what are wildcard characters? They are typically defined by this percentage symbol and underscore symbol. So when we are unsure about certain names or certain information, and we know that it starts from this letter or it ends from this letter or it has something in between, in those scenario we would be using wildcard character. For example, if I fire my customer table over here, I have some customer names. Okay, so I have customers first name as George, John, Thomas, James, Sunil, and so on. Now I want to find a customers whose name starts from JA. So there are essentially two things or two columns. So I want to find only those records. So what I would do, I would execute this command. So I can see only James. Now let me do something else over here. I have this customer table. Now instead of first name, I want to start with last name, wherein the name starts from M. Now let us see what's the result it is giving me. All the last name with M. So this way, depending on the initial characters or the end characters, you can apply your wildcards in SQL Server. So as a business analyst, it's not important that you would be using this wildcard characters in SQL Server itself. If you are using any requirement management tool, you can use this wildcard characters there as well with the help of double quotes or single quotes like Jira or Team Foundation Server. It supports wildcard characters there as well. And some of the queries like searching a particular information or searching through special characters or special operators are all supported by those particular tools. So it just help us ease up our process in those scenarios. Then there is something called as SQL operators. Now if we want to do some addition, subtraction, multiplication, divide, or modulus, or if we want to find some information, for example shoes and apparel, or shoes or apparel, or exclusively something, or something is equal to this thing, something is greater than, something is less than, something is greater than, equal to. So we would be using some of the operators. These operators are categorized as arithmetic operators, bitwise operator, and comparison operator. So depending on our situation, we would be using these operators. Like an example we just saw, wherein we tend to find the order amount or the count of orders wherein the amount is greater than 150 or less than 150. In those circumstances, we would be using these operators in SQL. And these operators are also supported by your requirement management tool, which would help us search information through that particular tool itself. Then these are some of the compound and logical operators wherein you would be using operator in combination with any other thing like plus equals, minus equals, multiply equals, or all and any between, exist, in, like, which we saw in wildcard case, not, or, some. So these are also the operators that are supported by SQL and also supported by your requirements management tool. Now, a very important concept in SQL is joins. Now, what are joins? Now, if you see, join is a clause used to combine rows from two or more table. If let's say we want to combine two or more table and show information as if they are one single table, then in that case we would be using joins, wherein we would be picking some column from one table and some column from another table. We would join it together and show them as a one single table. For example, here we have the customer table and order table. In order table, we have the order ID, customer ID, and the order date. Now, customer ID is a foreign key which is coming from customer table. And then we have customer name, contact name, and country in customer table. So these are two different tables, but there is a common relationship between these two tables, that is your customer ID. So customer ID is the primary key to customer table, and that primary key is a foreign key to order table. So before applying a join, we need to have a relationship between those two tables on which we would be applying a particular join. Now what this query is doing, this query is selecting the order ID from order table, the customer name from the customer table, and the order date from the order table. Okay, now after doing that, it is applying an inner join. Now inner join is applied on your orders and customer table. Okay, and on what parameter it is applying that particular join? It is applying on the relationship, that is customer ID. So customer ID in the order table is equal to customer ID in the customer table. So basis on that, it would return you all the information that are part of those two tables, like your order ID, customer name, and order date. So customer name is something that we got from customer table, order ID is something that we got from order table, and order date is something that we got from order table. So this way we have joined both the tables, but to the user it is looking like as if it's a single table, but it's not a single table, it's a combination of two tables. Now there are different types of joins in SQL. First is inner join, then there is left outer join or left join, then there is right outer join or right join, and then there is full outer join or full join. Now what does inner join do? Inner join returns records that have matching values in both tables. Whenever there is a match between both the tables, all the matching results would be presented to you with the help of inner join. Now what left join does, it would return all the records from left table and only matching records from the right table. Now what right join does, right join returns all the matching records from the left table and all records from the right table. And what the full join does, it returns all the records when there is a match in either or left or right table. So this is the four types of joins that you apply in SQL Server. So let us understand it with the help of a case study. So in our case study, we have a customer table and an order table. So if you see in our particular database that I have created over here, I have created two tables over here, the customer table and the order table. So in customer table, I have created a primary key customer ID, and I have a first name column, last name column, email column, address column, city column, state, and zip code column. And then I have created an order table wherein I have order ID as primary key, then I have the order date, the amount, and the customer ID, which is a foreign key from customer table. So the element on which we would be applying join is customer ID. So basis on this customer ID only, we would be applying the join. Now When we apply inner join, so let's say this is the query for inner join. We want to display these four things: first name and last name from customer table, and order date and order amount from your order table. So here we want to get those customer who placed an order and the details of the order they have placed. So in this scenario, we would be using an inner join, wherein we would be intersecting two tables. Now, if you see this particular example, when I see, there are 6 records. So there are essentially 6 customer and there are essentially 6 orders. Now I want to apply an inner join on this particular two tables. So can anyone tell me or explain me what this particular result, what it did? Let me bring these two tables in parallel. Okay. So this is the customer table and this is when I applied an inner join on the customer and order table. Now you could see over here, George record is there, Thomas record is there, then John's record is there, Thomas record again it's there, James record is there, James Monroe's record is there, James Madison and Sunil Monroe's record is not there. Why it is not there? Okay, let me bring three tables together, all the three tables together: the order table, customer table, and the left join table. Now look at these two tables and this is our inner join. Can anyone explain me this situation? What has happened over here? Okay, so for customer George, customer ID is 1000. So do we have an order for customer ID 1000 in order table? Yes. So George is applying in inner join. So it has a match. Okay, 1000. Coming to record 1001, John. Does John have an order in order table? Yes, it have two order. So two order record is coming. Two matches are found. Now coming to Thomas, record number 1002. Does Thomas have an order? Yes, they have. Thomas Jefferson have two orders in the order table. So there is a two match over there. Coming to record number 1003. Does it have an order in order table? Can you see 1003 anywhere? No. So it didn't show up in the inner join because there is no match. It is having James Monroe. It doesn't have any results for James Madison. Now coming to 1005, Sunil and Monroe. Does 1005 have an order in order table? No. So there is no match. So there is no result in inner join. So inner join essentially does a comparison by matching the information in two tables, customer IDs, which is in our case a matching criteria. It matches those information in two tables. If there is a match, then only it returns you the results of the matching records. It doesn't returns you results for every record. So for record 1003 and 1005, since it did not had any order, there is no match, so we didn't got any results over there. Okay, so that was something about inner join. Now we would understand what are left join. So let's say if we want to simply append information about order to our customer table, regardless of whether a customer has been have placed an order or not, we would be using a left join. So a left join returns all the records from table A and any matching record from table B. So it would return all the records from customer table and only matching records from order table. Now let us understand how this information is retrieved or executed when we go to SQL. So let me execute it and bring it up little above. Now this is my customer table and this is my order table. Now if you see here, it returned me all the information from left table, irrespective of whether it has a match in order table or not. So matching records are already highlighted, but the information or the items on the left table wherein it did not had any order, those information are marked as null because the record James Madison, record number 1003, like we already discussed, didn't had any associated order with it. So what it did, it included a null. Null means there is no order for it. Same thing it did for 1005. That means it did not have any particular order associated to it. So it essentially returns all the information from your customer table and only matching information from your order table. Wherein there is no match, it returned null. So that is the purpose of left join in SQL. Now imagine a scenario wherein we would like to do something we would like to find out wherein the order date is null. So in that case, we would be firing this particular thing, or we want to find out wherein a customer didn't place any order. So what we would do, we would put is null on order date. So wherever the order date is null, that implies the customer hasn't placed any order. So you can apply n number of additional filter criteria upon the left join or inner join, or for that matter any kind of join you are dealing with. Next comes your right join. So right join is a mirror version of left join and allows to get a list of all the orders appended with customer information, and we would apply the same null criteria on right outer join, but the result would be different. Now let us understand how the result would be different. So I'm bringing both the tables together, and on those two tables I am firing the right outer join. Now these are my two tables, customer table and my order table, and then I am having a right outer join. Now here all the order number 100 to 101, 102, 103, 104 and 105, all my orders are repeated, are displayed over here. But from the from the customer side, only the matching value are displayed. Now what are the matching values? The matching values are 1000, 1000, that is George Washington. Then Thomas Jefferson, 1002. Then John Adams, that is 1001. Okay. Then there is Thomas Jefferson, 1002. Then there is James Monroe, 1004. Then there is John Adams, 1001. So only the information which has matching value from the customer table are displayed onto the left, and all the values from the right table, that is order table. So in earlier case, when we applied left join, there were some items wherein there were no orders at all. So in those cases, we found the null value in this particular circumstances. But in this case, we have all the order information at the first place on the right hand side, but on the left hand side, we want to display only the matching records. But in our case, there wasn't any scenario wherein a customer information was missing and order was there. So that won't happen, because first the customer would come, then order come. Order, it won't be like order is there and customer is missing. If you think it logically, first customer would be created, then the customer would place order. Can it be a scenario wherein order would be there and customer won't be there? No, it would never happen. That's the reason why we don't see any null to the left hand side. Now, even though we apply this null part on right join, it won't give us any result because there is no null orders over there. Now the last type of join is called as full join. Now what are full join? So it's a list of record for both tables we can use as full join. If we want to have all the list of information in both the table, then we would be using full join. It would join both the table completely, all the information. If there are any null values present on the right hand side, I mean information missing on the right table, it would display null null. If there are any information missing on the left table, it would display as null null. So depending on the situation wherein the information on the left table is there or it is missing, or wherein the information on the right table is there or it is missing, it would display all the information with the help of full join. So how the full join looks in SQL, if you fire a particular full join, it would look something like that. In our case, the result would be very similar that we got in our left join. So when I execute this particular query, we see customer, order, and a full join applied to both the table, that is this information. Okay, so we found two null values over here wherein we didn't had any order. So total it returned me 8 records, out of which 6 records have an order associated with them and 2 records didn't had any order associated with them. So this were some of the things or some of the advanced things that are part of SQL, part of today's session. So I had already created the table for you. So that's the reason why we tend to cover this session a bit early. Then these are the things that we learned in today's session.